We're not politically correct, we just have common sense.
Unscripted, unfiltered, unfaltering. Show of Support's Hunt for Heroes offers tributes and true stories of remarkable courage.
That these terrorists could come in your bedroom and kill you, your wife, and your kids. And that's what these men are fighting to protect us from, these murdering idiots. And they're taking them out so that we don't have to deal with them over here.
Show of Support started it all just after the shock and awe bound a nation together. Now, years of footage portraying wounded veterans, deer stands, and standing ovations. Hunt for Heroes, that started as one man's way to say thanks, is now a series that many say is way overdue.
This is something I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
It's just a raw emotion.
It's been like a dream. It really has.
We still have 40,000 injured troops. It's going to take a while to get around all of them, but there's no quitting. It'll never stop as long as I'm breathing.
There it is. Look at that one right there, man.
I knew for a fact I was gonna have venison meat at least for the rest of the year. One buck like that will feed my family for about 5-6 months.
It was neat. It was a neat feeling to get those antlers in your hands and be able to hold up that deer.
Every time I look at that deer on the wall, you know, I remember being out here and the good times and the people I met.
It's all about hearing everyone's story, and guys who are involved in key moments of history, just hearing their story.
It's that moment in time when an incredible set of antlers is in your hands and something deep down inside is set in motion for life. When it happens on a Show of Support Hunt for Heroes, they call it healing, a therapeutic side effect of a simple deer hunt. On this special edition of Hunt for Heroes, we will hear the incredible stories of three men. Army Staff Sergeant Luis Chavez, who took the full blast of an Islamic idiot's IED. The coward's weapon injured Luis's back to the point he had to be medically discharged from the military. It's also the story of Marine Corporal Stephen Jones. It was on a dusty street of Afghanistan where an IED exploded, breaking his neck, back, right leg, as well as deep lacerations all over his entire body. He too is medically discharged and struggles with recovery to this day. Also, a face that's become a familiar sight to those who volunteer with Show of Support. Combat Surgeon Dr. Saddam Bose, one of the most decorated and distinguished battlefield medics in the military. In Iraq, Saddam was ordered to respond to a helicopter landing, and the patient he was called in to evaluate was the last person on Earth he expected to see. Saddam's story is a remarkable life experience. Only thing is, he's actually hunted with Show of Support last year. And Terry Johnson has a special unexpected presentation to make to Saddam.
Do you remember this one?
That's a year ago.
It was a year ago that Dr. Bose took his first whitetail buck. Now Terry Johnson lives up to his promise, like he does for all the guys. Something with which to remember the hunt forever.
This would be my first deer. My first ever deer. Thank you. I didn't grow up hunting. I grew up in Chicago, and this is really only my second or third hunt. You know, a lot of these guys have been shooting since they're 7, 8 years old. They're hunting with their parents since they were 5. And I was the guy who went into the military about to go to war in a couple weeks, and they're like, here Doc, here's an M16 and a 9mm. This year was nice. Wasn't getting frostbite from the 10-degree weather we had last year.
Miles from the main hunting camp at the Rocking Chair Ranch, Saddam Bose and his guide, Andy Kolb, reached their hunting blinds well before daylight.
Where I live in Chicago, my building is 65 stories tall. There's honking, and it's just a whole different environment, downtown Chicago. And then to come out here, it's beautiful. It's very peaceful, and it's almost like you forget all your other worries because you're just secluded in this ranch.
It's a different world here in West Texas for Saddam, to say the least. And deer hunting was the last thing he thought he'd ever get hooked on. A big, mature West Texas whitetail, and the doctor who tries to control buck fever as Show of Support Hunt for Heroes continues.
Character, commitment, leadership. It's a way of life for those who've worn the uniform. At Pioneer Natural Resources, we welcome those qualities. Veterans are a great fit at Pioneer, a company that values family, character, and a job well done.
One of the differences about Pioneer is it's a company that wants to hire veterans and wants to show support for the service that they've done for our country.
Contact Pioneer Natural Resources today.
You can hear rustling of the trees and the foliage, and you can't really see much. You strain your eyes, maybe you see some movement here or there, but it's just extremely peaceful, and I would probably say it's about as polar opposite to a busy emergency room. And it's nice to have that serenity.
It'll be a while before the sun comes out on this cloudy morning on the Rocking Chair Ranch. Combat Surgeon Saddam Bose is hunting with guide Andy Kolb in a remote area of the ranch. Saddam has become a familiar face among the volunteers with Show of Support.
Here's an 11.
11's, this one says 11 or 12, so David Hargett.
Dr. Bose helps out wherever he can. Each year before the first heroes leave the camp for the blinds, Saddam is there sorting gear and helping on the front line of support.
These rifles need to go there to the backpacks.
He hunted here before. In fact, considering his background, he's becoming a most unlikely deer hunting fanatic.
I'm an emergency room physician. My parents came here in the 1960s from India, and they arrived with $8 in their pocket and the American dream. And it was because of that American dream that they were able to put me through school and through an excellent education. Started med school after college when I was 21, and at 25 I was a doctor. And then I joined the US Army. I signed up and volunteered to be with the 1st Cavalry Division, and I deployed to Iraq for 15 months, a 15-month deployment into the combat zone, and served there taking care of patients. And it was an honor. I got to take care of our troops, our heroes, and one experience I'll never forget is the choppers were flying overhead, and the rumor was that they had captured Saddam Hussein, and the chopper lands, and in comes a very heavily bearded gentleman with heavy hair and blindfolded, rolled in, and he was my next patient. And I had to treat Saddam Hussein as a patient. And I think all these situations have a parallel to them, is just having to stay calm under pressure situations. And that's the thing about our military, is they go through incredibly intense, high-pressure situations, and within that chaos and within the horrors of battle, they find calmness and they get the job done, they get the mission accomplished. And that's why it's such an honor to be here continuing to serve our military folks. When I was in medical school, I always learned to give them this pill, to give them that liquid, to give them this tablet. And nobody ever told me that deer hunting could be just as therapeutic. We see the deer come out, and it's a sense of excitement. It was a mixed feeling. I mean, number one, one side of you is kind of like you feel bad for the deer because you're about to shoot a living creature. And the other side of me was like, okay, this is what I'm here for. And it's the same as separating emotion from task. You got to focus and you have to do it. And so it's a sense of excitement as well. We had to kind of just wait there patiently until the right moment came. Deer goes down, mission accomplished. It felt satisfying to be able to do that. And especially as someone who's not an avid hunter and hasn't grown up hunting, this was a big thing for me to be able to do that and get that deer. Maybe I am one who doesn't externally show their emotions as much, and maybe after going through basic training and working in the emergency room in chaotic moments and being on the front lines of the battlefield, you just kind of learn to keep your inner calm. So I might be hard to read that way. Even if I'm excited or stressed or whatever it is, you just got to keep calm on the outside. And maybe that's why I didn't react as happily as I was. But believe me, on the inside, this was so cool. It was neat. It was a neat feeling to get those antlers in your hands and be able to hold up that deer and say that it was another successful hunt for an incredible cause. I just think these hands, they've treated countless patients. They've treated the most hated man in the world. And now I can say they've held a white-tailed deer in West Texas. I like that a lot better. If it hadn't have been for Terry Johnson and his incredible mission, I would have never been on a deer hunt. But more importantly, I would never have realized how therapeutic a deer hunt can be for these guys. I never learned that in medical school.
deep in the legendary brush country of South Texas. The best whitetail hunting in the world is found at Double J Ranches.
Look at the mass on that deer.
Our tower blinds and veteran guides will help you find the buck that up until now are the stuff of dreams. The Double J Ranch Lodge is a place of luxury, surrounded by the thick brush and the lure of trophy whitetails. Go to our website, Double J Ranches. What hunting in South Texas was meant to be.
It was the last day left to the hunt. A little tired from getting up early. We hit out early in the morning. We went back to the same spot we were yesterday because we've seen a lot of great deer out there.
U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Luis Chavez has followed his guide Ruben Rodriguez to a ground blind almost 10 years to the day when one of the biggest bucks ever taken on this ranch dropped in his tracks. He joined the Army in 1998, and after 9/11, there was no question where life would lead Luis Chavez. Honor was something his family held high, and he pursued combat deployment with a passion. It was on one of many routine missions in Iraq where a coward's IED blast ripped through his gear and tore open his back. Surgery after surgery and a painful series of rehab, Luis has a new outlook on deer hunting. In truth, he comes here not salivating over antlers, but the venison has become his trophy. His humble childhood made an imprint. Luis sees filling the freezer more important than hanging something on the wall.
Sun started rising, deer started showing up, we started seeing movement around, nothing big.
This is the last day of the hunt, and from this ground blind, Ruben sees a buck that deserves closer inspection.
So we're sitting there waiting. All of a sudden, out of the left-hand side, out of some trees, this beautiful 8-point comes out. I wasn't expecting him because I had never seen him the day before. It's an older buck, heart start pumping a little bit. You get that little adrenaline rush. You want to hear the gun go off. I picked up my rifle, and as I picked up my rifle, I could feel my hands shaking a little bit. It's been a while since I squeezed the trigger off. I laid the rifle up on that window. I had to catch my breath a couple of times because I was kind of I was ready to go, I was ready to squeeze the trigger. I had to calm myself down just a little bit, just so I'd be sure I get the right shot in the right spot. Everything was so quiet, there was no wind. So any little noise that we would make, they would have just got startled. So as soon as I seen this 8-point come in, I knew that was gonna be it. Because if then those would have caught a scent of us, they would have left, and we would have not even probably seen anything else after that. So I knew that was my opportunity, that was my chance.
Oh, man. Oh, look at this.
Good job, buddy. Good job. Deer's going down.
Last day.
Look at
Sun
that.
coming up.
He's right over there.
Oh,
It just went
dude.
down. Good job, brother. Good job.
Man. This shirt's unsafe. There we go. Oh.
We'll sit here a minute. Then we'll go find your deer.
Once the buck was down,
Drink of water.
we started to exit the blind. It wasn't hard to locate the buck because we could actually see him laying from where we were at, That's the beauty of it, You could see a deer from a scope all you want, but until you see him laying down in front of you, that's when you really know what you got.
Pretty deer, man. Pretty deer.
I could see a beautiful rack on this buck, man. And the most important thing, it was kind of fat. I liked it. I mean, my guy was excited about it. I was excited, We got to see the beautiful buck just laying there. Perfect shot right where I was aiming, I hit it. And we called it a day, We called it a day. I knew for a fact I was gonna have venison meat, at least for the rest of the year. One buck like that will feed my family for about 5-6 months. And that was one of the main reasons I came up here.
It's a well-known fact the people of West Texas know the importance of hard work, determination, and drive. For years, TCO Field Services has been a part of the expanding petroleum industry. Another well-known fact is the admiration West Texans have for America's troops. Plain and simple, military heroes don't have a better friend than the hard-working folks in West Texas. At TCO, we never lose sight of the job done by our military, keeping us safe here in West Texas.
Smith Industries is a huge manufacturer of oil field storage tanks and heater treaters. With a massive inventory and a fleet of 8 knuckle boom crane trucks, Smith Industries can produce, deliver, and set quickly and safely. When the oil field needs tanks, Smith Industries is there. Smith Industries, Midland, Texas.
Military heroes don't have a better friend than the hard-working folks in West Texas. At TCO, we never lose sight of the job done by our military.
I was nervous. There was a lot of people there, but just the overwhelming support, made you feel good. It felt great, seeing everybody there for us. I mean, I couldn't imagine that.
United States Marine Corporal Stephen Jones and his high school sweetheart, Katie, weren't expecting this when they arrived in Midland, Texas for Show of Support Hunt for Heroes. Stephen has come a long way on a long road to recovery from one very bad day back in Afghanistan.
Joined the Marine Corps in 2009, went to Afghanistan in 2011. I was hit by an IED. I was mounted on a turret in a truck. Me and 4 other guys were in the truck, and I was on top in the turret. I felt the heat from the explosion and a flash of light, and I was knocked unconscious when the turret blew off. I had a leg fracture, back fracture, neck fracture, broken jaw, shrapnel on the right side, missing a couple teeth. But, glad to be here. Glad to be healthy as I am.
Corporal Stephen Jones, United States Marine Corps. Katie, his wife, and he are high school sweethearts. On June the 4th of 2011, he was a turret gunner on a Humvee.
Everybody I've met in Texas, has been just as nice as they can be. Good Southern folk. That's really nice to come down here and see all this support.
Blew the 50 cal up into his face, busted up his jaw pretty bad.
It's how they started deer hunt in West Texas. Stephen and Katie absorbed this moment, a place where, as Stephen says, it feels good to be back on 2 feet, standing upright once again.
I probably shot my first deer when I was maybe 11. They're nothing like out here. This is a completely different type of hunting here. I mean, biggest I've shot is an 8-point, a small 8-point in North Carolina.
Stephen's guide is Duane Conder, and as far as the Rocking Chair Ranch goes, this is one of the most open areas there is. Up on the ridge, there's a buck that gets Ryan's attention.
I was sitting there thinking, this is it. This is going to have to be the group that we're going to pursue. So if they don't come down here, I'm out of luck.
While they watch that buck up there for what seems like forever, another mature buck appears much closer. Ryan doesn't have to say much to get Stephen ready to try and kill this buck.
I started to reach for my gun. I ease it up, and we're still watching him. We're waiting for the right shot. I was thinking that he was going to get away. I was thinking, I missed my opportunity here. He's going to head back the other way, and I'm not going to get him to stop. I clicked the safety off, and this is going to be my chance. I shot over his back. I was too excited. I jerked it, and I was so upset. I was thinking, this is it. I messed up. I missed him, and it's gone now. I was astounded. I've never seen anybody take a shot at one and not run off. I knew I'd put a good shot on him, and he kind of trotted off a little ways, not far. At that moment, I was just so excited. Finally got a deer, and I don't have to worry anymore. I got something to take back, and I can show the guys and celebrate. And it was a great hunt. It was a great time.
It always happens on the weekend before Thanksgiving here in West Texas, where 25 military combat heroes come to fuel a passion, find their smiles again. For Sadiq Bose, Luis Chavez, and Stephen Jones, whitetail hunting is something that stretches the boundaries of memories and reaches down deep inside.
I've never shot anything that big, and I can't describe it. It was surreal.